What is up, everyone? Now I know a lot of you guys are waiting for this video and were waiting for this video. Today we're gonna talk about the top 15 best epic champions in Dragonheir Silent Gods. And I gotta admit it, man, this was not an easy mission, okay? It was not an easy mission because we have more than 15 good epic champions in Dragonheir, and it was pretty hard to actually put them all on the list. And that's a good thing if we have more than 15, right? Because you're not gonna get disappointed when you're pulling some of the heroes. And one thing to keep in mind, most of these champions, right, because this game works on elements, we have combinations of elements, and that's kind of like how everything works perfectly in this game to achieve the ultimate synergy, will benefit, of course, by being in the right team. So keep that in mind as well. You might use one of these champions and be very underwhelming because you have him in the wrong team, or you might use one of them in the right team and be like, my god, it's crazy how good this hero is, you know? So keep that in mind as well. And yeah, we do have quite a few of them. I did took in consideration the tier list that we have as well. We do have a tier list for epic, legendaries, guys, rares. I'm gonna link it in the pinned comment just in case if you haven't saw it just yet. And you're gonna be able to kind of like see everything based on different areas, you know. If your heroes are good here, they're doing the right job, they're not that great for this specific thing, you know. So keep that in mind as well. That being said, let's crack on it because we do have quite a few champions to go through them. And if you know me from my other channel, guys, if you know me from my other channel, you know that I can never keep a top 15 tier list because I always add a couple of extra ones. It's just something that I can't help. Now I'm gonna start with Dane, and even though I haven't used him in the beta, I'm using him now. He's one of my main DPS heroes. He's at 90, and man, Dane is an absolute killing machine when we are talking about AoE. Now, he's not great in the Vortex, he's not necessarily great against most of the single target bosses, but basically he has a attack aura for City of Trials, and that's not really gonna help us that much. Now, the passive, when the hero deals damage to enemies with less than 50% HP by skills, recharges the ultimate energy by 15%. The effect can only be triggered every 5 seconds. This one right here, AoE, deals 300% attack fire damage to enemies within range, has a chance to put fear and a chance to put healing prohibition. Very, very helpful all around, a bit of crowd control. And then right here with the ultimate skill, has a 75% chance, once you book him, 100% chance to dispel 2 buffs from enemies within range. AoE, so if they have buffs, you're gonna dispel them, okay? Then you're gonna deal 650% attack, and you're gonna put decreased attack on them. And for enemies with HP below 50%, steals all their buffs instead. Like, Dane does a lot of work, man. Like, I'm so impressed with his damage as well, especially for the Goblin. He's always like almost at the top of my list when I'm looking at the damage, you know. Very, very solid hero. And I'm actually, I think I'm done with the scrolling on him. Yeah, I'm done. I think I finished him this morning, if I'm not mistaken. So Dane, awesome fire hero. Then, of course, we do have Alfie. Now, Alfie really needs wild heroes to kind of like make him work. So if you're enabling him like that, or rather said, he's enabling your wild heroes, he has a Captain Aura for dungeon battles, 30% attack. Each successful wild check by allies grants an extra 10% attack up to the hero permanently. This effect stacks up to 10 times. So basically 100% increase on the attack. Right here, on a single hit, deals 300% fire damage. He's a wild hero as well. That increases the damage that he's gonna deal and ignores 35% of the enemy's defense. And then this is the skill that really makes him amazing to pair him in a wild team. I'm gutted that I'm missing the hero, unfortunately. But basically, summons a Nexus that lasts 15 seconds in a designated area, increasing the success rate of wild checks made by allies within the Nexus by 50%. So if you pair him with the right team, guys, and if you're decreasing the cooldowns of his skills, you're always gonna have that on, okay? Always. So your wild heroes will just go berserk, man, bring so much damage. How I mentioned, keep in mind, if you're using this hero alone, he's gonna feel pretty underwhelming if he's not in the right team, you know? But Alfie is actually a solid one, and maybe you could argue it and say, like, Skratch, don't you think that maybe they shouldn't be on the list just because they're doing that? But either way, let's just give a shout out to Alfie, even if we not necessarily put him on the top 15. Just keep in mind he's solid. Foley, she's a solid hero. She deals pretty good damage, you know. Brody removes the shield. Interesting hero too. Horus, free, pretty good tank. But let's move over to the next champion that we have on the list, because we gave plenty of shoutouts. Tonal Nan, again another hero that I don't have, and a lot of people were using her in the beta. And right here, the hero gains an extra 20% crit rate. Each successful wild by allies grants 5% crit damage to the hero. The effect stacks up to 20 times. So again, you'll be able to get 100% crit damage extra on the hero. If you pair her with Alfie and another couple of wild heroes, my god, you're gonna just do insane damage. Right here is a single hit as well, and wields the double blade, dealing 90 attack fire damage to the target 3 times. That's actually very good because it's a 3 hitter, is a wild attack too. The higher the number difference between the buffs on the hero and the target, the higher the damage. So basically you can bring in even more damage. Then you have the ultimate skill, which is a wild, gains 20% attack up for 10 seconds and deals 160 fire damage to the target 5 times, and is a wild. Now, this is not necessarily a hero that's great for waves, but is great on bosses. It could have some crazy numbers on the Vortex, for example, as well. But you need to kind of like make a wild team for these heroes to work. And it's pretty much the same, you know. Most of the Frost need Frost heroes, Necrosis need Summoners. It's pretty much the same cup of tea for all of the elements, you know. Moving over to the next hero that we have on the list is gonna be no one else but Horus. And again, guess what? Skratch doesn't have him. Poisoner, and he has a Captain Aura, Enlightenment by 48 in all battles. Now, if you don't know how Poisoner works or derivative damage, you need Enlightenment for them. But I'm gonna do more deep guides on how to build each one of the heroes, guys, because I feel like a lot of people need to kind of like have the proper information out there. Then we have the passive. When the hero deals damage to an enemy under poison, every stack of poison on the enemy increases 1% crit rate of this damage. So that's pretty helpful as well. Then this is an AoE, hurls a poison bomb to deal 340 attack poison damage to enemies within range, with a 50% chance of inflicting 3 stacks of poison. If you tome him, 75% chance. So definitely not a bad skill to put poisons everywhere, you know. The ultimate skill deals 600 attack poison damage to enemies within range. When hitting enemies under poison, triggers poison explosion once. So that's nice, you're basically activating the poison. So Horus is definitely on my most wanted list for the poison element. Looking forward to get a champion and play him out. Of course, we have Etches, awesome epic too. Sifris, awesome epic. But the next one, of course, is gonna be Furat, and in my opinion, is the best epic tank in the entire game. Just insane, man. Like how well he's able to keep the team alive and tank for the team. Defense aura for dungeon battles. You're getting the passive. When dealing damage to enemies under debuffs, the hero has 30% chance of healing the ally with the lowest HP by 150% defense and dispel 1 debuff from them. The more debuffs on the targets, the higher the healing amount. The effect can only be triggered once every 1 second. 1 second. The higher the defense, the bigger the heal. Then you have the battle skill, which is so freaking awesome. Generates a healing nexus around the hero for 6 seconds, healing allies within range by 50% of his defense every 1 second. So let's just say you have 2000 defense. You're gonna get a heal of 1000 every 1 second. Then you have the ultimate skill. Pretty good. Deals 600 poison damage to enemies within range, so it's an AoE, with a 75% chance of inflicting attack penalty for 10 seconds. Now, one thing that I don't like on how they're doing it in Dragonheir, and it feels very common for most of their heroes, this is a defense-based champion. And probably they would be a bit more OP if they would do that, but it would give you more versatility in building them for damage. Deals 600 attack poison damage. He's a defense hero. I don't want to get attack on him. Nobody wants to get attack on him. It doesn't help him. So why not deal damage based on defense? You know what I mean? That would be a a very, very good thing. Moving over to the next hero that we have on the list, guys, is going to be no one else but Vikuk. This is another new epic poisoner. I want him to because he's freaking awesome support hero. The passive, when the hero is inflicted with a debuff, there's a 100% chance to inflict accuracy penalty on the debuff caster by 5 seconds. Now, Lady of Greeneries could get a bit of a smack because of this, you know, so this is gonna be an awesome champion to help you against that boss as an idea, and of course other content too. The battle skill deals 300 attack poison damage to enemies within range with a 75% chance to inflict attack penalty for 5 seconds. Fully booked is going to be 100%, and you can build him with some damage if you want. He has a pretty good base attack, so I wouldn't be surprised if he actually drops some nice damage. Then you have the battle skill, which is a massive, massive area. Now, this skill doesn't really deal damage, so that's why I wouldn't waste him on a damage build, but you can make a bit of a hybrid if you really need that extra damage. Dispels 2 debuffs from all allies and heals them by 15% of the target's max HP. For each debuff successfully dispelled on an ally, the healing on that ally is increased by 25%, and he covers the entire area. So this is gonna be great against the fire domain, against a lot of places where you're gonna get debuffed, and you're gonna get debuffed in a lot of places. So Vikuk, an awesome epic champion. Moving over to the next one that we have on the list, guys, is gonna be no one else but Shelar. Awesome DPS champion too. Now he's a Dauntless. Again, Dauntless heroes need more Dauntless heroes in the team, either to bring the buffs, either to help them, because they need to use that basic skill a lot. So the passive, the basic attack has a 30% chance of releasing a chain lightning to deal 75% attack derivative lightning damage to enemies. The lightning chain can bounce 4 times among enemies at most. Now, derivative damage cannot crit, and it can benefit from enlightenment. Then we have the battle skill, grants a lightning shield and 15% attack up to an ally for 4 seconds. Lightning shield deals 55% attack derivative lightning damage to nearby enemies every 8 seconds. Then you have the ultimate skill, and this covers the whole map again, enhances all allies with lightning force, granting them Blessing of Thunder for 15 seconds. When launching basic attacks, all allies with Blessing of Thunder have a 30% chance of summoning a lightning strike on the enemy, dealing derivative damage. Dauntless heroes have double chances of triggering this effect. You see what I mean? Similar with Alfie, he needs to have the Dauntless heroes on his side to really bring in the full potential, and my god, he's gonna enable that team to do some insane things. So keep that in mind as well, guys, because definitely not a hero that you wanna ignore. Then of course you have Yola, awesome epic hero too, but I'm not gonna use her on my list today. The next one that I have on the list is actually Ethite. I'm not even sure how you're actually pronouncing this name, okay? I'm not sure, but she's pretty awesome. So we have a Captain Aura defense in all battles, 24%. Then you have the passive. When an ally casts an ultimate skill, the hero grants a 10% target's max HP plus 1350% enlightenment shield to them for 5 seconds. This can be such a clutch, man. This is a passive, it has no cooldown either, okay? So this right here can be awesome. Then you have the battle skill, deals 300 attack lightning damage to the enemy and removes their shield with a 75% chance, fully tomed 100, to dispel 1 buff from them. Then you have the ultimate skill, grants defense up to allies. So this is the big version of defense up and is a pretty big range on the map, and heals allies with HP below 50% by 10% of the target's max HP and 2200 enlightenment. So she can be a very good support hero. You're gonna need defense up to tank quite a bit in most of the dungeons, especially on the higher stages. And getting the healing from her, getting the shield with the passive, getting the remove shield, and all the rest of the things can be really interesting. So I definitely think that she deserves her spot in here. Moving over to the next hero that we have on the list, guys, is gonna be Garos. Now, I do want to give a shout out to Martina. I think she's an awesome hero. Voltag is a pretty good hero too. Even Shug, the new rat, is actually pretty interesting. Garos, man, is one of the best tanks in the game too. And you have a Captain Aura, increases ally defense in all battles by 24%. The passive skill, when taking damage, the hero has a 50% chance to gain 1 stack of defense up permanently. The status is undispellable and can be stacked up to 20 stacks. So basically you could get an increase of 40% of your defense, which is very nice. The battle skill, this deals 400 defense radiant damage, again defense hero, defense damage, to the enemy with a 100% chance to knock up the target. Then grants hit recovery to the hero for 10 seconds. So he heals himself, gives a bit of a knock up and decent damage. Then you have the ultimate skill, dispels all debuffs from the hero and heals all allies by 600% defense and covers all the area. So I definitely think that he's a very, very solid tank. And luckily I managed to pull this hero yesterday. He was my very first epic from the Horn this season, guys. I forgot the name for a second. The next one that we have on the list is gonna be no one else but Guna. She's actually pretty interesting. So she's a rally hero, Captain Aura, crit damage in all battles. Then you have the passive, when the hero gains rally, flashes to the furthest enemy, dealing 200% attack to them, takes effect once every 5 seconds. So this alone can bring a lot of damage if you're using her in a rally team. Then you have the battle skill, for 8 seconds after being cast, each basic attack deals an extra 68% attack radiant damage. So that's actually pretty interesting. You're basically boosting a bit of damage. And you have the ultimate skill, deals 700 radiant damage to enemies within range. If the hero has rally when casting the skill, it consumes it to deal extra 200% attack through damage. Now, true damage usually in games means ignores defense, ignores pretty much everything known to humankind, okay? So this skill right here, it will hit very, very hard. So this is a pretty good damage dealer. Now, let me know in the comments down below, guys, if you want to see in the future maybe kind of like top 15 damage dealers, top 15 healers, top 15 tanks. I'm definitely gonna do the damage dealers because that's something that I'm doing in all my other games as well. But if you want to see like support heroes, if you want to see tanks, let me know in the comments down below as well, because I do think that is pretty important. The next hero that I have on my list, guys, is gonna be no one else but Katherine. I do think that she's an awesome healer, and she is the old Hexandra from the beta. With the passive, when the ally HP is fully restored, 50% of the extra healing from the hero is converted into a shield for 10 seconds. The battle skill heals the ally with the lowest HP by 15% of the target's max HP, plus 2500 enlightenment, and grants the ally defense up to the bigger version. And you have the ultimate skill, heals allies within range by 10% of the target's max HP, 2500 enlightenment, and grants them debuff immunity for 10 seconds. This right here is gonna be a very strong skill, man, for a lot of content, especially progression wise. Till you're gonna become super OP with your gear and everything. Is actually an awesome skill. I can't recommend you enough to build her, okay? Unfortunately, guess what? I don't have the hero either. Moving over to the next one that we have on the list, guys, is gonna be no one else but Garos, a frost hero, and the aura increases allies' resistance by 40 in all battles. The passive, the hero has a 25% chance to immunize the inflicted debuff. Each time the hero gets immune, recharges ultimate energy by 25%. Now, is a 25% chance for it to happen, but you know what? It's actually a pretty good passive. Then you have the battle skill, deals 400 cold damage to the enemy with 75% chance to land attack penalty, the bigger version, and is on a battle skill, and it can go all the way up to 100%, which is very nice. Then you have, of course, the ultimate skill. Look at the range, pretty good range. Shoots a magic crossbow bolt in a designated direction, dealing 620% attack cold damage to enemies within range, with a 100% chance of inflicting knocked up and knocking back enemies to the furthest point possible. Meanwhile, there's a 100% chance of inflicting a stun for 3 seconds, and then a 100% chance of inflicting recharge speed penalty. My god, look at a massive wall of text. He does a lot of awesome things, and he's actually a pretty good one. I use him a lot in the beta. Moving over to the next hero that we have on the list, guys, is gonna be no one else but Rowena. I think she's a new one, if I'm not mistaken. Another Frost hero. She looks pretty cool. Love the design. The passive ignores the target's 20% defense when attacking an enemy inflicted with Frost. So if you have Frost, you ignore defense, you deal more damage on the enemy. The battle skill deals 365% attack damage to the enemy with the lowest HP, with a chance of inflicting Frost. So this can help you, you know. Then you have the ultimate skill, deals 600 cold damage to enemies within range that are not inflicted with Frost. Then 840% attack cold damage to enemies inflicted with Frost. So if you have another Frost hero, you're gonna get so much damage. AoE out of this hero is just absolutely crazy. Look at that, 840%. Plus you have the passive that helps you to ignore 20% of the target's defense. So much damage, guys. Honestly, it's gonna be nuts, actually. And of course, the next hero that we have on the list is gonna be no one else but Vorish. This hero sucks, is not good. He's actually one of the best epics in the game and probably is the highest rated epic in the game. Now, he's a support hero, but he deals a lot of damage. With the passive, heals the ally with the lowest HP by 70% attack when dealing damage. This effect will only trigger once when dealing damage to multiple targets, so AoE is not really gonna give you an insane heal. Then, you have the battle skill. Deals 120% attack cold damage to enemies 3 times. When dealing damage to the enemies, has a 50% chance of dispelling one buff from them. The chance increases to 60. Then you have the ultimate skill, which covers the entire area. And if you are using him in the goblin, you're gonna see that he's always hitting all the goblins when they're coming out of nowhere, even if you don't see them. Deals 220 attack cold damage 3 times to all enemies with fully booked 100% chance of inflicting buff prohibition for 10 seconds. So he's actually solid for arena, solid for pretty much every content. I am using him everywhere except the Frost domain, you know. And sometimes I'm removing him out of my Vortex team because I'm starting to build a proper team for the Vortex, you know. Big shout out to Tia, Questa. I love both of them heroes. I'm using them both, and I really think that Tia, she's very, very solid too, because you know what? She brings the heal, invisibility. She brings the invisibility for everybody, debuff immunity, healing prohibition, you know, attack as well on an enemy. So pretty good hero. Pretty good hero, actually. The passive, the Captain Aura for dungeons. So just a big shout out. Questa deals quite a bit of damage. You have the attack down. So keep that in mind as well, guys. Then, of course, I'm gonna talk a bit about Raava too, because I missed him on my list right here. And he's pretty interesting as well. Captain Aura, crit damage in all battles, 24%. For each enemy inflicted with Frost on the field, the hero gains an extra 15% attack up. The attack can stack up to 3 times, so all the way up to 45% increased attack. But you need Frost heroes to get the most out of him. Then, fires 3 orbs at a random enemy, dealing 260 attack cold damage with a chance to inflict Frost. And you have the ultimate skill, AoE. Summons an Nexus that lasts 10 seconds in a designated area, dealing 55% attack cold damage to enemies within range, every 1 second and a half, with a chance to inflict Frost for 10 seconds. Upon expiration, the Nexus will explode, dealing 400% attack damage to the enemies within range. So think about it like this. You have Raava to go in with this skill, put a Frost on the enemies, right? And then have Rowena to go in and just blast them with the AoE and deal insane damage, you know? That's actually a thing that can be really, really good. And the last champion that I have on the list, guys, is gonna be no one else but Zarlot. And this is a summoner, right? So we do gotta give them a bit of a shout out to summoners, because there are quite a few of them that are good. Captain Aura in all battles, 24%. You have the passive. Every 4 basic attacks heals the ally with the lowest HP by 300% attack, with a 100% chance of inflicting silence on the enemy for 5 seconds. Every 4 basic attacks. So if you pair this hero with the Dauntless heroes, for example, that buff attack speed, or just give this hero a lot of attack speed, not a necessity to pair him with the Dauntless, you're gonna get a lot of healing from here, and you're gonna silence the enemies quite a bit. Then you have the battle skill. deals 380 necrotic damage AoE with a chance to inflict recharging speed penalty, which is very, very important. So that's a very nice thing already. Then you have the ultimate, summons a prison at a designated location for 5 seconds, dealing attack necrotic damage to enemies within range every 1 second for the duration of prison, with a 35% chance of inflicting fear on enemies for 5 seconds. Heals all allies by 30% attack in the meantime, while he's doing all the other things. Each enemy hit by this skill increases the healing by 15%. So just think about it. If you have a massive wave of enemies or anything, you're gonna get a massive healing and you're gonna deal a lot of damage too. So this is a pretty interesting hero as well. But guys, this will do top 15 best epic heroes in the game. Now, I gave quite a few shoutouts. Probably I missed a few shoutouts because, yeah, that can happen too. There's just too many good epic heroes, and that's actually a very good thing because we can play them and have fun in the game. Easier to scroll, easier to obtain, you know. Let me know in the comments down below if you think that any other epic hero should have made top 15. If I missed anyone, hopefully I haven't, and I'll be doing, the next video will be the best DPS epic champions. Probably it's gonna be a top 10, so that's gonna be a bit more interesting, you know, because we have quite a few awesome DPS heroes. That was all for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you found it helpful. If you did, make sure you subscribe to the channel to see more Dragonheir content. If you want to check our tier list, check out this video up on the screen. If you want to see 5 mistakes that you want to avoid in Dragonheir Silent Gods, check out this video right here. I'll catch you all soon in the next one. Peace.